and we spotlight the bookkeepers and experts who keep businesses moving, because you deserve to feel proud, confident, and seen. And today we're honored to welcome Stephan Brown with LedgerGurus. So we're honored to have him join us today, but first, now Deb with a special announcement. It's the last week to sign up.
Well, I'm so excited because this is the last week to sign up because it all starts next week. And that's, the bookkeeper, what is it called, Don? It slipped my mind.
Bookkeeper Appreciation Week. It's right on top of your screen there.
Yes, Bookkeeper Appreciation Week with Bill.
By Bill.
Because we are the unsung heroes of the business world. We're the ones that keep the engine rolling, but we do not get the recognition we deserve. I know how vital you are to business success, and so does the team at Bill. So that's why we're hosting Bookkeepers Appreciation Week, which is March 30 through April 3rd, and it's dedicated to recognizing the work we do and give us the tools that we need to free up time for more strategic work. So mark your calendars for March 3rd and get ready for 5 days of practical resources delivered straight to your inbox, plus live CPE eligible webinars. We'll cover what bookkeepers are navigating right now: advisory work, pricing, and now AI, along with proven strategies that we're already using. So trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. So check it out and register at bill.com using our link, Bookkeepers On Fire. And we're hearing back from the people at Bill that a lot of you are signing up. So we're really grateful for that. And we can't wait for that, the Bookkeepers Appreciation Week next week. So sign up.
All right, so the link is in the chat right now if you're on with us live. If not, it is in the description, so go ahead and sign up. Share it with your friends also. Let's see how many people we can get from Bookkeepers on Fire into that. All right, you guys have a great week for that. And now to Stephan Brown, and we want to hear all about what you do.
Well, we're thrilled he's here because, we know Stephan because of Brittany. Brittany Brown, who is a speaker, our on-stage speaker main stage speaker scaling last year. Fabulous job. I've known Brittany for many, many years. And I was scaling at Connect one year. We sat next to each other at a dinner. And she goes, because everybody drinks at these conferences. And she goes, well, I'm going to have a mocktail. And I go, what's a mocktail? Oh, it's a drink with no alcohol. Okay, I want one of them too. So she was teaching me all about mocktails. It was great. I never knew of such a thing. And here I'm going to be 70. And so it was.
I actually have a customer that I CFO for that does mocktails. They're actually called Mocktail Club. So it's becoming very popular.
I know. I thought it was great because I usually go order a club soda because I don't drink because I'm an alcoholic or anything. I don't like how it makes me feel, and I'm too damn cheap. I could buy 2 pieces of cake for a cocktail, So about mocktails, I'm like, deal. So we know Stephan because of Brittany. And so you're married and you work together. And so tell us about your business. How did it get started and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so Brittany's a CPA. After we met when I was finishing up my MBA, I was doing a professional MBA, and she was finishing up her Master's of Accounting. She had done an internship at KPMG and had 3 kids from a previous marriage, so she was a single mom. And she was like, I just can't do this. So she went and did a regional firm, Squire, that's here out of Utah. And we got married about that time. And I was in enterprise software. So I spent most of my career in software. I had an engineering degree, bachelor's, and an MBA. She helped me with some of my accounting stuff during MBA school. And shortly after we got married, she went to Scaling New Heights of all conferences. And she heard a presentation talking about this new industry. And at that time, it didn't even have a good name. It was outsourced accounting. It's now kind of come to known as client accounting services. And she called me from the conference and she was like, I'm going to start a cloud accounting firm. And I was like, all right, sounds good. I was busy with my career, but took her a couple months. She wanted to get a partner, but was struggling to find the right person. And then a couple months after that idea, I said, well, what are you hung up on? At that time, she had left her job at Squire and was just as a fractional CFO for a firm, or for one company. and her big hang up was technology, and I was like, I'll help you with that on the side. I didn't think she'd have these grand ambitions. I just thought it'd be this little side thing. So I helped her get some of the core technology set up, and then she got together with an old classmate who just wanted a job, and they're off to the races. 2 years in, it was growing quickly, but it was overwhelming. And she was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, this is dumb if, you're just stressed all the time, because we didn't really need the money. It was more of, I kept telling her, put the money back into the business. So she kept putting it back in and growing. And so we decided, let's take a risk. And the risk was I was making more in my job than the business was making in total. But I was like, I think this thing could turn into something. And we talked it over, and I decided to quit my job, and we had some savings to live off of. So we had like this 2-year plan where we had to grow the business to a certain size to get it to cover our costs. And so it was a race, and we went off and we raced, and here we are. Well, that'll be almost 10 years this summer that we made that decision. 12 years since since Brittany really got the business going, and I helped her a little bit on the side. And now since then we decided to specialize. We focus on e-commerce businesses, and we have 55 people. And
I think that's amazing. 55 people.
It's a lot of gray hairs is what it is. It's great until it's not. Like, people are great until they're not, right?
Right.
But it's good, so we're a good sized firm and have a lot of customers all over the country. That's who
Now,
we are.
you do only e-commerce? Do you do anything else, or just e-commerce?
We have some legacy clients, and sometimes a customer will say, hey, can you do my other business? And, if it's something simple, usually we'll say yes. But yeah.
Now, you send out a report. You send out a newsletter every week. Tell us about that, because, we get a lot of emails, Don and I. And,
yeah.
Stevens is one of the only ones we always read.
Oh, I appreciate that. I am the author. A couple of years ago, we've done a lot of content marketing. So we have a YouTube channel. We have a lot of content on our website. We started a podcast a year ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember when. We're like, hey, we need to engage with our customers. Like, e-commerce is going through a down moment. We need more. We need to engage them. So let's start a newsletter. And I'm kind of the voice of the customer. I do a lot of our advisory CFO work, and I am building up that practice. And then we also, a couple years ago, we bought an e-commerce business as with another partner.
I was going to ask you about that, because you
Yeah,
guys
it's
went
kind of
deep.
it's kind of a sandbox for us. So we use it to test out technologies and ideas and processes. It's still smaller than most of our customers, so we're continuing to grow it, hopefully to get it to where it's in line with what a lot of our customers are doing. But I was kind of the voice of the customer. I knew, because I am an owner, I work with customers. So I write it, and my goal is just some quick tips and try and talk about what's going on around e-commerce finance, and oftentimes the macroeconomy gets in there. And boy, there's been a lot to talk about the last couple of years.
So what's the name of your email?
I think it's something dumb. Oh, don't tell my marketing lady. It's like LedgerGurus top 3.
LedgerGurus. And it's like, you always say like 3 tips. I'm like, what are the 3 tips?
It's like 3 tips, and then sometimes we'll do 1 to 3 other tips. So we'll have the top 3 tips, and sometimes it's content that we've released, or it'll be like last week I was talking a lot about tariff refunds and what's going on there and what to be looking at and thinking about. I just try and find things that I think are the most important for the customer and put those up, and usually I'll go up to 6 total technically. So if there's
And then where did you
things-
get the names to be able to send it out? How did people sign up, or how did you get those first emails out there?
We built up our list over years with YouTube. We had a lot of downloads. We still have a lot of downloads that people can do, and are building more. I've got a bunch that I'm working on this year, and so we'll build up our list that way. They'll come in, and then we'll usually add them to the email list, and they can remove themselves if they want to, or they can just subscribe to the list directly. So it's a list of thousands of people now.
It's a great email newsletter. Now, do you just
Oh,
send it
thank
out
you.
email? Is it on LinkedIn or
just
Substack or
email.
anything like that?
Just email. I'll usually do. I do have a LinkedIn email newsletter off of my personal page that I will usually talk about the top tip. That's just kind of an experiment that's continued on, but it's all just in email at this point.
And you found that good for getting new customers, or what's the benefit of doing this big newsletter blast?
I think just brand awareness, keeping
Uh-huh.
our name top of mind is, because people come on, they'll download something. There's a lot of marketing theory that oftentimes it takes multiple interactions before somebody will either be in a position to purchase or will be ready to purchase. And so it's just staying engaged and being top of mind with them for when they're ready.
Right. I think it's fabulous. I think that's the new way to do things now, is just be giving people
No,
information.
that's the way it's always been.
Well, really, I just got
People
phone calls,
forget. Email's the
phone
gold,
calls
man.
from salespeople. No, I got one today.
Oh, I get 1,000 a day.
it's
but
just
emails
hard.
are gold. Yeah.
It's hard now because there's so much noise, so
Yeah.
much information. Like I have some newsletters that I like to read, but I have a hard time keeping up with them because there's so much coming in. So there's this marketing theory of just continuous touch points, and so we try and put ourselves out there wherever we can. But AI's kind of messing everything up. Like we're seeing a lot of decrease in consumption because I think everybody's just going straight to AI now.
Oh, you can almost, I mean, if you start reading this stuff, you can say AI, you can
Yeah.
tell the AI wrote it. I mean,
When AI wrote it, I'll use AI to help me summarize my content, but I do all the final curation. I don't
yeah,
want a bunch of
me
AI
too.
slop.
I mean, I come up with the idea. I always say I spew it. I just, okay, put this into some summary. All right.
Yeah.
I always think about, my first husband was a newspaper reporter, and he would had an editor.
Yeah.
So he'd come up with the ideas, write the story, send it to the editor and say, okay, fix this, do this doesn't flow. So I always look at AI as my editor, but it's
Yeah,
still I'm
exactly.
writing it,
Yep.
you know.
I agree.
But a lot of times you
Exactly,
can tell when
yeah.
M dashes, Oxford commas, even
Oh,
though
I know.
people use them,
God.
and they could tell the phrases. I can
Yeah.
always tell when somebody wrote me an email response that always starts the same way. Hope you are well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay, AI wrote that.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
kind of
and it
don't
might-
even listen to it.
And my hope is, like, I've been using an agent to create my LinkedIn articles, and I have it point back to my previous articles, and it's getting my voice pretty well, because I'll go in, I'll edit it, I'll take the draft and I'll edit it, but I'm finding that the first drafts are getting much closer to my voice because it's the core knowledge I have is all my previous articles. So it's
Right.
like over time, I'm like, maybe it's starting to capture me right out
Right.
the gate.
Because I
I'm
know I
doing
have
that
a
too.
I have
It's
a
the
Debbie
same-
Boyd
yeah,
MD file
same
where it's uploaded to stuff, so it actually, and I say, don't say this, don't say this.
Yeah. Don't use M dashes. Nobody.
Don't, yeah,
I'm
no
like, I never
Oxford
saw M
commas,
dashes
present
before AI.
tense,
Yeah.
no bad words,
Yeah.
you know.
Don't use, there's specific words that I picked
Yeah.
out that AI always uses, so don't use these words.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have like a host of things, I update that thing every day
Yeah,
based on what I see out there because I'm going through my LinkedIn and I'm like, okay, AI wrote that, ChatGPT wrote that, because it's the same words over and over.
it just sounds
And
like
I'm
funny,
like,
even on the
yeah.
comments, when people comment on my
Yes.
stuff, and I'm like, oh, AI wrote the comment. Did they even read the
They have-
article? You know?
They have M
Yeah.
dashes in the comments and you're like, oh my God.
I heard that like some crazy number of short videos now are AI generated, and it's like,
Yeah.
we're just.
Well,
gonna
I
be
just did
watch-
2 videos on my LinkedIn to test it out. And on Sunday and Monday, usually I do pictures, which are AI generated, but I thought, I'm going to try the video. And I did. They weren't bad. But,
Yeah.
it's like, that's the fun. Somebody said they liked them. I said, well, that's the fun. That's like dessert.
Yeah.
When you come up with a picture idea, I like that. And I just left it that. But the ideas come from you, whatever's going on in the world, and then you send it out. Now, do you have you always send it out on Fridays?
We try and send it on Thursdays,
Thursdays.
unless there's a holiday. So usually that's when we send it out.
Yeah. Now, Brittany has been busy. Of course, here we are talking to you, Stephen, and talking about
Yeah.
Brittany.
That's
But,
all right.
but she just took a job at a college, so she's teaching. She's a professor now.
She's a professional in residence at Utah Valley University, also known as UVU. she did a class last fall, and they said, hey, they wanted her to come over, and she's basically building a client accounting services track within the accounting program there. And part of the reason we were cool doing this is we're constantly having to train our new hires, and we're like, part of what we're doing is trying to make better graduates, and part of what we're doing is trying to build trainings that we can adapt in our firm just to help our new hires be more effective right out the gate.
So we were discussing before the show started, like you hire college graduates who don't know how to do accounting.
No, I mean, if you think about it, the accounting education system is somewhat hijacked by the Big Four, and what they're doing is audit and tax. So people don't actually know how to do accounting. They come out of it, they know how to do an audit, they know how to do a tax return, they know how to look at a, finished set of books and do something with it. And I think it's a huge disservice. So there's a lot of interest in what she's doing by, like Intuit's very interested because she's actually using QuickBooks to teach them. There's a lot of other universities that are interested, and we're starting to take some of the things that she's generating and adapt them into our firm for new hire training.
And we were discussing the word bookkeeper. So tell us your
Yeah.
theory on that, because we kind of agree.
So I'm not an accountant. I'm an MBA with kind of a finance emphasis and an engineer, but I spent a lot of time around marketers, working with marketers. We don't use Bookkeeper in our firm. We don't have any bookkeepers. We have accounting specialists. And I purposely changed that name a couple of years ago because I just didn't feel like it did justice to what we're trying to do. And so, but unfortunately, a lot of people still, they understand, oh, it's somebody who does they prepare my financial reports. And I just think, especially in this era of client accounting services, which is a terrible name, I think bookkeeping doesn't get the value it deserves.
Right.
Like in industry we serve, like it's more than just logging, categorizing transactions. There's complex revenue, there's complex inventory and COGS, there's sales tax issues we're dealing with. And then all the, accounts payable, accounts receivable. I just this is the lifeblood of a business.
Yes.
And so I wish part of it is I saw how people use the word and I don't love it. I'm like, no, this is we either need to elevate the term or come up with a different one. But I think we were ideating and it's hard, what do you call it? And to me, I just call it accounting. We're doing the accounting for a business.
Right. And a lot of people, when you tell them you're an accountant, they think you're really dull and boring and the bean counters and, now there's some of us are like that, but a lot of us aren't.
I did a presentation this morning. Exactly okay, guys, I'm an accountant. Everybody roll their eyes back in their head and let's go forward. And it was they were like, oh yeah. And then we got fun, but yeah.
Yeah, or a lot of people would be like, oh, so you do tax returns. We launched a tax practice this year. I can finally say, yes, we do tax returns. But it's a small part of our practice. It's no, we do the accounting for a business.
I
all
know.
the things you got to do
I
to
remember
run
when
a
I was
business?
married to my first husband, the reporter.
Yeah.
I was always popular on April 14th.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's
wait, I do
there's-
more than tax returns. And now I'm married to Hal, who he does the tax returns. I say, he works one day a year. But I work 364, so he
Yeah.
can work that one to do your tax return, which is only a required report.
Yeah.
It's not the reason you're in business.
No.
You didn't wake up one day and say, I want to go in business to file a tax return.
And I think part of my desire to move away from bookkeeping is I also think the mindset with businesses who want bookkeeping is not the type of businesses we want. I want businesses who are going to use their financials. And I think a lot of people that just want a bookkeeper, this has been a struggle too, but it's hey, you've got this gold mine of information to run your business more successfully. We use our financials so deliberately, and I have in every business. That's part of the reason I used accounting to save a business a couple of years ago. And I want that for my customers. The problem is they don't always want it, but I wish they did. I'm trying.
Exactly. Because, you know,
Yep.
that's, you start with the question when you meet them, what is it you want from your business? And they go, well, I just want to file a tax return. That's not why you go to work every day.
Yeah.
You know, if your business, if you had $1 million, what would you buy?
Yeah.
You know, you have to pull it out of them
Yeah.
to get why it is they're doing the work. And it's right there. But if they don't, and then I get really annoyed, well, mad, pissed off, whatever you want, when we don't charge enough. So
Yeah.
people value what they pay for. So if you're charging $250 a month to do the bookkeeping, running the business, the financials of the business, people don't think it has any value. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know, they think their mom can do it. And then this is another pet peeve of mine. We train them. No, don't do that. I have 40 years, 45 years of experience. I can't teach you what I know in an hour.
Yeah. Well,
You
you
know,
brought up a good point because a lot of people have their mom or their cousin or their wife doing the
Yep.
accounting. And sometimes it's good, but a lot of times it's not.
I remember my favorite one was I had we had a car dealer we did, and his wife, my wife can do the accounting. Okay.
Yeah.
Tax return time. She comes
And I
over with
think
her
that
QuickBooks file. We restored it. She had 2 accounts on her profit and loss.
mm,
Business income and business
expense.
expense.
Expenses.
And she goes, I said,
Wow.
well, that's interesting. She goes, well, those are the expense. That's all, everything in there is a business expense. And that's all the business income. I couldn't fault her because she was right.
She was right.
Okay.
Yep, I've had that happen before.
You
Yep.
know, I said, well, we have to categorize it. You know,
Yeah.
but I thought, he thought she was doing a great job for what, because he wasn't paying her, gave her something to do. But then when it came to tax time, we had to reclassify the whole thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard, but it was like, ugh, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, there's so much gold in financials.
Yes.
My
Yes.
journey to this world was, I kind of say I used to be the dumb, like I was an engineer, I was working in software, and I remember sitting down and talking to my finance guys about revenue recognition and thinking, you guys are crazy. What is this? Because I was used to consumer accounting. I was pretty good with my own personal finances, but this concept of accruals was so foreign to me. And then, through MBA school, it clicked. And I was like, oh, okay, I see why that makes sense. But good financials are just a gold mine of what you should be doing with your business.
Right.
And so many people don't tap into that. And I feel like there's, I don't know, I came from kind of bigger companies, and guess what? They looked at their financials really closely. There's a reason big companies are big, and one of them is they use their financial data to make good decisions.
Right. And I
So-
think because we use the term bookkeepers, we give the impression, we think of ourselves as, well, I can't do that because I'm only a bookkeeper. You're already doing controller work because you can look at
Yeah.
his financial statement and know what's wrong.
Yep.
I never remember a girl came over one time. Her goal was to put her kid in kindergarten, pay for kindergarten. It was $500 a month. She goes, I just can't afford it. I said, well, let's see what's going on in your life. Well, as we downloaded all the transactions, Starbucks, $20, Starbucks, $10. I go, if you
Yeah.
gave up coffee and went to Wawa for $1, you could pay for his school every month, no problem. Because she didn't have an account. Oh, it's all there if you know how to look and read the data.
Exactly.
And
like we started doing some dashboarding a year ago. We'd done it within LedgerGurus and the business we own. And my partner at this other business has said, hey, are you doing this for all your customers? And I was like, no, that's a really good idea. So we started doing dashboarding for all our customers using a business intelligence tool that we use. And I can, I've been training my team on how to use the data because we're visualizing the financial data. And we'll do case studies, and they'll go in and right now it's almost like the Matrix, right? You see all those numbers,
Yeah.
it's easier with the visualizations, but I can look at what's going on in a business and I can be like, are they doing this, this, and this? And they'll be like, how did you know? I was like, oh, financials. I just know the patterns now.
exactly.
Yep.
I always tell
but-
clients, I said, I can read financials like other people read French romance novels.
Yeah.
Nothing
crazy.
it's not hidden. I can tell you where you're slipping,
Yeah.
or you're stealing, or you're skimming.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know I'm skimming? Okay, you made $10,000 and you have a house on the beach.
Yeah.
How are you
Yeah.
paying for it?
That's,
Yeah, exactly.
You think they're stupid there at the IRS? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the thing about financials is you can always go deeper. And I'd always, in my software career, I was always the person who wanted to dive into the financial reports, or at least the financial data.
Right.
Not necessarily the financials, because I was at some public companies and they don't usually give you the financials, but I'd get all the, like my product's financial report data, and I'd go in and I'd dive in and I'd see what was going on, and I'd look at pricing and stuff. And so I kind of became that guy who was the one who understood that stuff, in addition to all the complexities of software. But I dug in because, like, there's a story there about what's going on in those
Exactly.
business lines.
It tells a
And-
story.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it gives you
you can
guidance. on
slice
what you
and
sh-
dice it. It's so cool
Yeah.
when you can slice and dice it, especially when you get into products and sales and the
Oh.
pricing and all that information. Oh my God, that's like I love that stuff. It's
I feel like you
oh.
can you can keep going down and down and
Yep.
down in almost every business. Like, we're on a
Mhm.
journey with LedgerGurus. We've been doing reporting on our own data, and it's just like, it's never ending. It's like, we need to go here, now we need to go here. And what we're trying to figure out is, if anything, trying not to do too much data, because you can over analyze, but trying to get into what are the things that move the needle, and how do we
Now,
keep
do you
track
use
of those?
AI for any of these analysis?
Yeah, we definitely are. We're definitely doing a big push on that. I'm actually trying to do a brain dump of myself. I just launched yesterday an advisory coach for the firm, and I'm taking all the transcripts from my podcast, all of the trainings I'm doing, and using that as core knowledge, and just trying to dump my brain. And so we were testing, and I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's capturing what I said pretty well." So
It's
to
fun.
me, this is at some point, will there just be expert proxies for us that
Right, I think so.
can answer?
But we still
you know,
have to interpret it.
yes,
Yeah.
and apply it to the individual situations. Like, there's
Yes.
there's general guidance, and then you have to kind of dig in, because, like, in e-commerce, I see certain patterns. There's patterns around selling online. There's patterns around different types of products, and then there's just the nuances. How are you doing? There's it's the nuances. And so I don't know. I'll be really curious to see how things play out. Like, as expertise, I always think there's a certain amount of experts, but if experts can start to transfer their knowledge into AI, which they already are, does that empower other people to be experts, and we can spend less time trying to teach the basics and go deeper? I don't know.
hope so.
It's really interesting.
That's my wish.
That's that's awesome.
I mean,
That
just
would
today, I
that'd be
took a-
great. Everyone gets better.
I mean,
Yeah.
just today, I
Yeah.
took a 12 HOAs, 12 months of investment thing, and they wanted to accrue the interest every month and what CDs. I thought, this is going to take me years to figure this out. Load it up into Claude. I said, tell me exactly what happened every month. Here it
Yep.
is.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Cool. Now let's do. We can take more time taking action, and maybe
Yes.
less time trying to understand.
right.
And that's exciting. What's I'm really struggling with, and we had this question in the software industry quite some time ago, when they were starting to offshore a lot, and they're like, where are we going to get where are junior engineers going to go? And what happened is they ended up going to startups. But as kind of these junior positions get carved out of the knowledge industry, the question in my mind is, how do we build up senior experts if all of the basics are done up by technology? And I don't know what the answer is, but it is something I'm wondering.
Well, I think a lot has to do with the confidence level you bring to it yourself. Like, I can do this. I can learn this. I can, because I think that holds a lot of bookkeepers back. For example, I'm just a book guy. I can't. Yeah, you can, because I think a lot of us live in this profession. We live in a state of fear. Well, what if I make a mistake? The IRS. If you make a mistake, it's only money. No one died.
Yep.
Make a mistake. It's
fix
the
it.
best way to learn.
Yep.
And I do think there's some unlocks, like what Brittany's doing with UVU. I still believe in the virtue of a concentrated learning, a structured learning. technically we could learn almost anything we need to for free. But
Right.
why do we go to college anymore, right? Other than that diploma. I think a lot of us need structured learning.
Right.
We need something
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
forces us to go through things, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know. But coming out of tech, you look at some of these big leaders; they are all college dropouts. A lot of them are. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, um, Steve Jobs. They were just good learners, right?
Right.
So, but I think a lot of people, you know, we're not billionaires because we need structured learning. But my biggest thing coming out of college is, can you learn how to learn, right? Do you have
Right.
enough of a foundation? There's foundational knowledge. Like I needed to go through a couple of accounting classes, not a lot. It took me about 3 before accrual accounting clicked for me. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. I see why they do that. And that came through structured learning. But, and so I do believe there can be unlocks, and this is what I'm hoping Brittany and I talk about all the time is we've got to do a better job unlocking people, helping them move into the next stage. Like, it blows my mind when I hear about professors that don't use AI. I'm like, come on.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a
like,
tool, yes. It's
or ban it, right? It's like, you know,
Oh,
Brittany's trying
yeah.
to teach all of the tools that she can, because like that's what we need as a profession. We need people to know how to use technologies. We need that.
We need people to know how to think
Yeah.
and use their common sense.
so,
But you're right.
Yeah,
They have
so
to learn how to learn. And you'll be, I remember when I learned how to knit. When I first did it, I felt, but I kept doing it. And for all of a sudden you have to be willing to keep doing it because your goal is bigger than your frustration to get there.
And what I always tell people is like, well, I use AI absolutely every day. It helps me think better.
Yeah.
It helps me think more
clears out
because
all
it'll
the
come back
muck.
with things that I didn't even consider. Now, whether they're right or wrong, but I didn't even consider them. So it helps me like expand my thinking to then go learn more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where learn to learn
Yeah.
is AI. I think speeds that up. At least it does for me.
And it's
I
fun.
like, yeah, well, it's fun
Yeah.
too. But yeah,
Yeah, and to me, AI is, with us, what we need is just learn how to ask better questions. I remember when Google first
Yeah,
came out,
yeah.
I would, and even Siri now on my phone, I ask it a question and it comes back with something else. Tell me how to get to the pizza parlor. Well, you have to take a rocket ship at the NASA down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I must have asked it the wrong way.
Yeah.
yeah,
Learn
yeah.
better prompting.
Yeah. Better intelligent questions.
Still needs us, to ask
Yeah.
the questions. The data's there. We just have
Yes.
to learn the better questions to ask to suck it out.
And I'm
Well, we're
I'm
at
generally
time, Stephen. Can you believe we spent 30 minutes
Holy
talking
cow.
already?
That's crazy.
Crazy. This was
I
great.
know. Goes by quick.
Goes by
I feel like
quick.
we could keep going, but we gotta go.
Yeah. But thank you so much for taking the
No.
time and coming on today, and give
No
Brittany
problem.
a big kiss and a hug from us.
Will
You
do.
know, and will we see you both at Scaling New Heights?
We are going to be at Scaling New Heights. Yes. we'll
Okay,
be
good.
there.
Good. We'll see you there. Donna, any last words?
No, we're good today, although we are now gonna think about changing the name from Bookkeepers on Fire to maybe something else if we can figure it
Yeah,
out.
Planning Accounting Services on Fire. I don't know.
I don't know, that doesn't flow either.
Nope.
Well, thank you all for watching today. We just love to have you in. So we, oh my God, I lost my place. But thank you again. If today's conversation sparks something for you, just take it forward into your work, your voice, and your value. Until next time, lead boldly and serve with purpose and keep the fire burning. And don't forget to sign up for our Bookkeepers Appreciation Week. It starts next week. So sign up now.